Hi, I'm County Executive Scott Walker, and it's a great opportunity for me to join with you here this morning. I apologize for not being able to join you in person. Today, 10:30, I'm at the Milwaukee County's one of our senior centers, the Clinton and Bernice Rose Senior Center to be exact, talking about with leaders of our community on a project we've been working on for some time. But I do appreciate the opportunity to share with all of you, people from all across this great state of Wisconsin who care about older adults and people with developmental and physical disabilities in our state. It's something I care about very much myself. In fact, it's interesting thinking about addressing the series of issues that you and others like you across the state are dealing with. It's something that's been a passion of mine for some time. Back in the 1990s, I was honored to serve in the state legislature. In fact, I understand later this morning you're going to serve with two of my former colleagues, Kitty Rhodes, state representative from the Hudson area, and Peggy Kruzik, who of course is a state representative from the Milwaukee area. Two great advocates when it comes to health care, and particularly the services for older adults in our communities all across this great state. And back then in the 1990s, I was honored to be one of the folks that when Governor Tommy Thompson at that time proposed family care, I was able to vote for that. It was equally as exciting several years later, back in 2002, when I was elected as the county executive, to be the leader of a county that essentially oversaw one of the first family care initiatives here in the state of Wisconsin. We were, of course, one of the first 5 pilot programs. That's incredibly exciting for me because I think back to years ago, before I was the county executive, when here in Milwaukee County we had a waiting list of nearly 3,000 people, 3,000 older adults who were waiting for the long-term care services in our county. Today, because we've successfully initiated family care in Milwaukee County, not one person, not one older adult is waiting for long-term care services. On top of that, and we've learned a lot, I'm going to talk about that in a moment, we learned a lot with that partnership with the state of Wisconsin and with our providers, advocates, as well as patients and their families. But we're also one of the few, if only, family care programs that's totally financially solvent. And we're looking forward to see that expand, as we were the only one of the 5 family care pilots that was just for people over the age of 60. Our next step is to expand that for individuals under the age of 60 with developmental and physical disabilities to ensure that that waiting list is completely eliminated as well. That's an important priority for me, and I know it is for all of you who would like to see family care expanded all across this great state of Wisconsin. For us, when I look at that, while some of the things we learned that were quite important that I'd like to share not only as a county executive, but in the future, if God willing, and with the support of the voters of the state as your next governor, are really a learned process of understanding that family care has to be a partnership, and it has to be a partnership based on trust and on communication between the state and the partners, particularly the counties and districts, the collaborations that are part of the family care program on the local level. It's got to include stakeholders of all different areas, whether it's providers, whether it's family members, the patients themselves. We've got to make sure we do it in a way that ultimately provides the best level of client-centered care. Patient-centered care is really ultimately what we're looking for. It means doing that in a way that's most appropriate for those individuals seeking that long-term care, knowing it spans the spectrum from a little bit of help within their own homes all the way through the continuum of care. It's part of the reason why I voted for family care and why I've been proud to see it enacted and would like to see it enacted in other parts of the state. Access is certainly a key element. Looking at eliminating the waiting list all throughout this state in places where we don't currently have family care, and making sure that everyone who needs access to quality long-term health care options can get that. Long-term care is an important responsibility, not only for the state, but for all of us, even outside of government. So it means eliminating those lists, providing access, providing equality, making sure that everyone gets access to that, regardless of what their background might be and ultimately what part of the state they come from. And then finally, as part of that, and again, this was one of the great balances between improving the quality but also trying to control the cost, when we had the multitude of different programs before family care was first initiated back in the 1990s, the idea was to take it and to put it all in a one-stop shop opportunity to improve the quality but also to help improve the cost. Because as we know, going to this next budget for the state of Wisconsin, it's going to be an incredibly difficult budget, and the more ways that we can be more effective in controlling those costs while still maintaining quality is really going to be an important balance. So for me, those are things we've learned from the past, from a personal experience in the county that I reside in, and I'm honored to serve as the elected head of in the state government, and we're going to apply that big or small and everywhere in between in terms of the expansion that we'd like to see for family care all across the state of Wisconsin.